The magic is this. With Soldraw, now all we have to do is select each of those solid viewports, right? Select each of those solid viewports and then hit enter. AutoCAD now is running a program, a subroutine, to render the model into those 2D orthographic views using visible and hidden lines. So if we take a closer look now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be updating each of these views to show only the information that we need to see, right? Let's start here with the top view, okay? Eventually, what we'll be able to do is freeze all the viewports, okay? Let me change layers first. I'm in the viewport layer. Let's change to the 0 layer. And if I use freeze, what you'll notice is once we freeze those viewports, all the drawing views are going to be floating, right? And you'll see, because this is going to be a broken view, we're going to add some detail to that, all right? So let's undo the freezing of the viewport, because we're going to need them in order to reposition them, right? So if we look down here at this area, you can see that we can actually squeeze both the section view and the auxiliary view just a little bit closer, right? So if I select the viewports in layout paper, now I can simply move those viewports using the model as edges for reference, right? So you can see how they remain aligned. Now I know that this view can scoot a little bit closer, so if I select just a viewport there and then use the edges of the model as reference, that's how I could keep it aligned, right? Let's scoot it back just a little bit more. This is going to be the bottom of that auxiliary view, so let's just scoot it about there, okay, or maybe even just a tad more. But we got to be careful because we're really close here to the edge, right? We don't want to make things too hard to read. And of course, if we select multiple viewports, we can also move those closer, right? And using our polar setting here, we can maintain just some alignment, right? So give yourself enough room there. You'll notice here, all we need to do is crop it further, right? And in this view, what we actually have to do is take away information, right? So here, if I activate this view, you'll see that you'll be able to select line work and simply delete it, okay? Just select the line work and simply delete it. Now these reference edges that we created, okay, they're on a separate layer. I would keep them visible until you're dimensioning. Once you're dimensioning, then you can get rid of them or add the appropriate line types to indicate center or even the cutting plane line. All right? So here, as I go along, now remember, I locked the viewport so I could zoom in and be able to select my entities there a little bit better. All right? Just be careful. Don't get any of the edges that you don't want to get rid of. And here we are, revising, right? There we go. Nice, clean auxiliary view. Okay, and if we look down here into this area, we've got this auxiliary view here. I know it's kind of hard to see with this other one, but here's what you could try to do if it's hard to see, right? If you take a look at your view command, you'll actually see, where's viewports? Let's see. Oh, here's viewports. If you select the viewport, actually you don't even need that. If you select the viewport and you look at your properties, for any of these viewports that are overlapping, okay, you can see you can turn them off temporarily, right? You can turn them off temporarily, and then that way you can minimize the confusion there. The information is still there, but you're just not seeing it. So notice this one here, right? Miscellaneous, is the viewport on? Yes, but I'm going to turn it off temporarily, right? You can see a little bit better that way. And again, what you want to do is double click into the auxiliary viewport, right? And go ahead and start grabbing the information that you want to remove. And in this case, it's quite a bit. So let's go ahead and remove that. And afterwards, when you're all finished, it should look something like this, right? Now we can return to the other views simply by selecting the viewport, going back to properties, and turning it back on. Let's do that one at a time. There we go. So we can look at this one here, the section view, clean this one up too. Oops. Let's undo the zoom. Make sure we lock that viewport. All right. Let's make sure all the other viewports are locked too. Okay. The last one we have here is the right view. So let's zoom in there. We got a lot here that we can remove. So let's erase. And just clean up. Is that the reference line? No, we can get rid of that. Okay, almost there, right? Okay, and then we have this for reference here. We can get rid of that later on, all right? Now, you'll notice how this view is not aligned with the front view, but that's fine. Again, in layout paper, we can select the viewport, but use the model edges together with your polar tracking, right, to align the views, just like that. This is just in layout model.